Welcome back to Bayona's RC World. In today's video, we are on part 2 of the Great Plains Reactor 50 CC refurbishing series. We actually got the covering on hand now, which just arrived today, and this is going to be the first here on the channel utilizing Ultracote. And so I've always been a monocoat covering type of guy since the early 80s, and so I've dabbled a little bit with Ultracote with my hanger and eye models. Other than that, this is going to be the first full-blown covering job in my lifetime. So if you like content like this, go ahead and click that like, subscribe to the channel, and sit back, relax, and let's get on with the video. Alright guys, March 10th, and today basically what I'm doing is just going over the structure of the Reactor 50 fuselage at the moment, and I'm just filling in any nicks and dents and stuff like that that you see on the balsa surface, and I'm just doing some parts that are like the joints between the ply and the balsa. I'm just kind of putting some filler there to kind of smooth things out. You can see where the transition from balsa to ply, you know, some of that basically is kind of high, and we had some little dings and nicks and stuff that I basically would fill with some wood filler. And the wood filler that I'm using is basically this DAP plastic wood. This is natural look, and been using this one for a few years now, and it's doing pretty well, in other words. So basically so far I've used monocoat over this and Oratex. I have not used Ultracote, and we will be sanding and getting ready to start applying Ultracote over here. Alright, so I want to go ahead and show you some other things that we can do, like on soft balsa. You can see here, I don't know if you can see it, I got some indentations, and that was because I was actually had the fuse upside down, and it was riding on the edge of the, I think my scissor was there and it was laying on top of it, and so yeah. And so what we're gonna do here is basically we're gonna be just applying some water on a rag. You can use a squirt bottle and stuff like that, and I've done this in other videos, but you know, just show it here. And what we're just gonna do is just add some water to this area where the dent was at, and sometimes just the water by itself would raise it up, and sometimes it won't. So what we're going to be utilizing will be some heat, and so we're going to be getting the heat source from our sealing iron, and then from there we're just going to come by with our sealing iron. As you can see that the dent there, the balsa is already lifting, right? So we're just going to apply some heat, and I got to be very mindful too. This is underneath this balsa is the foam, so I don't want to keep it there too long. So we're just gonna go ahead and just apply heat over that area, and what that's gonna do is gonna swell up that balsa back up. So just like that, you see the lines are gone. Those dents no longer visible, no longer there. As a matter of fact, it's smooth. And so when you come upon areas like that, you got like a little indentation, instead of putting balsa filler, you know, just get yourself a rag with some water, just kind of get it all nice and wet in that area, and eventually sometimes just the water by itself will bring that back up. But if not, just add some water, and and get some heat, and it'll bring it back. And there you go, that one's gone. So little indentations, little dings. On soft balsa, you could just add water, add some heat, and it'll go away. Alright, so just like I mentioned, this is the first time that we're going to be utilizing or actually showcasing the use of Ultracote here on the channel. And so we got, for references, we got the orange, we have the silver, we have here the white, and black. And yeah, so on the last video we didn't even get anything sanded or anything. We were just removing everything, going through the structure, seeing all the imperfections and the ply, making sure that it was even worthy of getting to this stage. And so here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is basically we're going to make a template here out of this real flimsy construction paper. And what I am going to do is I'm going to start off at the rear. I'm going to go ahead and get the covering where I can actually follow around the horizontal stabilizer. And so that's what I got here, is the actual stabilizer airfoil, all right, drawn out. And how I got that was basically I just cut a slit and slid it over the horizontal stab and followed the crease and just used the pen, just basically scored it, outlined it. Then I took that rough measurement and transferred it to a new sheet. And this is what I'm actually going to cut out now. But we're just going to go ahead and cut this within the line at this point, just getting it close, because we can always manipulate the material, the covering. And so basically just like that, we got it slid open. So now when I actually cut the covering, I can actually start at the rear. Everything is all nice and butted up against, like you can see here. I don't know if you can see it really good, but the covering is going to go right around the horizontal stab, just like that. And just imagine this is a full length of covering. Alright, so we've got to start somewhere. And so this is where I'm going to use as my base, my marker, so that I can go ahead and draw out the design. And so what I'm going to do from here is I got a few pieces of long cardboard stock, like you see right here. And I'm going to go ahead and transfer this as well to this cardstock once I tape them all together. And this is how I'm going to go ahead and get my actual line pattern drawn out. For example, just imagine this already on here. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to figure out where I'm going to start this design. This is my rough drawing, the outline of where I want this design to go. And so if you really look at the pattern here, let me see if I can bring it so you can see. Alright, so this is where the pattern is going to go. It's going to come, so the top side is going to be orange, this bottom side is going to be silver, and there's going to be a white stripe that basically goes from the aft to front of the aircraft. And so to ensure that I get this covering cut the way I want it, I have to make a template and a guide so that I can also duplicate it for the other side. And so you can see right here, this is just a rough. It's gonna go like this. It's gonna continue on like that, and then go up to the front and then back down. And so we're gonna go ahead and transfer that to cardstock. I'm gonna tape some cardstock all together like this cardboard, tape it all together so I can get the full length. That way I can draw out the pattern. Running the full length of the fuselage, and you can see my little chart tape there, basically running from the front, kind of doing that number. I was thinking of, instead of making it straight like that, kind of give it more of a curve, you know. But when it comes to the canopy area, this is all straight, and then it kind of comes down. So I don't know. I still can reposition this until I actually get the way I really want it to look, and then we'll finalize it, and then I'll cut it. There you go. I think I prefer this flow better. Just nice, and then goes down that way. I think it's a better flow. And then you can see the distance from here. It's kind of almost the same. It comes back. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it like that. I believe that's it. And this is where the main of the rest of the cowl goes. So it'll come in through like that, and then wrap around the cowl, back out the other side. So yeah, I think that's it. That's how we got it. It's gonna go like this, and then this is gonna go towards the back of the rudder. I think I like that one. So this is the right hand side. So this right here is basically the outline, which is gonna basically butt up against that one. However, I altered it just a little bit where I actually, since this is Ultracote, I'm gonna go 1/2 inch overlap just in case, because this is my personal experience with Ultracote. If you're out in the sun, especially here on the island of Guam where it's humid and it's hot and everything, sometimes that adhesive in the back of the Ultracote tends to become tacky and gummy, and then it wants to separate. And so if I had a 1/4 inch overlap, trust me, it's gonna shrink, and then it's gonna pull away from that seam. And so I had it done on my Hanger 9 100cc Decathlon and my 100cc Beast. You know, those are covered with Ultracote, and I tell you, once the Ultracote starts peeling off or pulling away from its seams, and you try to go back and iron it down and tighten everything drum tight, it just will never stay. It just keeps wrinkling up. And yeah, so I had bad experience with Ultracote, and so I'm gonna go ahead, since I have full control of this, I'm gonna go and do a 1/2 inch overlap. So technically this line is going to be 1/2 inch down. So I just estimated, so this is 7 inches from here to here, and then minus the 1/2 inch, and that's where the line is actually going to be. This is going to be where the orange overlaps like that. So I got 7 inches, and so 1/2 inch from here to here, and then from that 1/2 inch mark down to 7 inches. It gives me enough material to go from one end all the way to the other, and then I could go ahead and trim it down here. So we're gonna cover the bottom of the fuselage first with silver, and we're gonna go about right here, cutting it at the curve. That way when I put the side and I come down, that overlap is going to be kind of hidden further down, so you're not going to really see that seam right here. Here to here 7 inches, all the way to the end 7 inches, and marked it with a Sharpie. And we're just gonna go ahead and cut this off, and this will be the right side. So then I'll take this and I'll flip it over, do the same thing, and then we'll cut the left side. And then hopefully we have enough in this excess in the middle to go ahead and use it for the center. If not, then we'll just have to take a new roll. All right, so let's go take care of that. So this is the left side of the top, the orange. So I'm just cutting out the horizontal stabilizer opening. Other than that, that's pretty much it there. Alright, so we take this off. We got our opening. Same thing as the template. Now we got all our sides cut. We just gotta now start covering and joining the orange and the silver together. Alright guys, so we got the first horizontal stabilizer pretty much covered. This is pretty much Ultracote. Yeah. Alright. I mean it went on there fairly easy because of the adhesive backing. It's not like Monocoat, where Monocoat you actually really have to work it, you know, to get it to stick down there. I don't know. Yeah, maybe easy to go on, adhere to the model and everything like that, but like I said, and I want to continue saying it, it's these seams, the overlaps and everything that goes around over time. When you get fuel or oils and stuff like that getting in there, they tend to lift off and everything, and then or snag when you're wiping your model down with the rag, you know, and then you get the lint all built up on the edges, and then eventually they start peeling. And also here on down on Guam, so it's really humid, it's hot and everything. The adhesive tends to kind of it's okay on the sheeted areas, but the main issue where we come on with Ultracoat and seams or overlaps is in open areas like this. So like in this case, I'm gonna have the orange and then the silver. It's gonna be, I'm gonna pre-join them, and then I'm gonna plop it on this model with one piece. All right, so if I don't iron that seam down really good, that's the reason why I'm doing a 1/2 inch overlap. If I don't iron that good, and then I come by with the heat gun and slowly drum tight this thing, if that adhesive gives, it's gonna separate. Not like a Monocoat. I mean, you can melt that thing down there. I mean, you can put the heat basically right on it, as long as you're not keeping it way too long, and it won't separate. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, this is the first part. We're gonna go ahead and take care of the other side, and then we're gonna go ahead and join the orange and the silver together on that, and then we're gonna completely one shot the right hand side after we do the bottom, of course. Alright guys, alright, so we're gonna go ahead and take care of this side. So I went ahead and I cut this one out. I don't know if I'm getting it in the camera. Put this up all the way to the end here. Just like that right there. Because this model is pretty big, I don't actually have a cradle to put this onto, so I have to do it this way. This is not a really awkward position that I'm in right now, because the camera's right there, and yeah, and I'm not even yeah, I need to go around the other side. Alright, so I'm on this side now. And the iron is not all that hot too, as you can see. My hand's on there. But it's sticking with that little heat compared to Monocote, where Monocote, my heat is pretty much almost maxed. But I know how long to leave the iron down. I know when to move and all that stuff. Now this Ultracote, like I said, iron is not all that hot. I'm all the way over here on my dial. I don't know what that equates to as far as temp is concerned, because I don't actually have a pocket thermometer, but all I can say is I can actually put my hand there. So, and then I also got the sock on there too, so it kind of helps with the heat. So, for the most part, it's fairly easy, this Ultracote. I mean, I got it. It does, you know, adhere to the model pretty quick, just like that. But we'll see once we get onto the bigger areas. All right, so now we're just gonna go ahead and trim all this off. So just use my blade and use the stab as a guide. So I got this kind of somewhat with a little bit of an edge or lip. So just trim it just like that, and we'll come around and just basically seal all these edges down. Now this top piece, I'll use the trim sealing iron to iron down, because I don't want this lint here when I go around. It tends to build up on the edges there, so I'll use the trim sealing iron for that. I'll just basically roll this over to the edge here. We'll just really get this thing all sealed down. Alright. Let's go do the top side now. I'm not really going as far as full detail covering, as far as, you know, I mean, to me, I'm still utilizing the same techniques that I use on monocoat. It's just with a different heat now. So, alright, so we're gonna go ahead and take care of the top side now. So we got our Ultracote piece, and with a little bit of overhang. It's kind of overkill in the overhang, but it is what it is. It's just the leftover piece that I have. So we peel the backing off. Then we're gonna butt this up right there at that joint. It's the reason why we always put, you know, the covering, wedge it in the corners prior to. That way, now all we have to do is just butt it up like that, and we know for a fact that you're not going to get any exposed wood there. You know, just butt it up like that and iron it down on top of that. All right. Cause the crease there. Like that, and then we'll just, the rest of it, just basically iron it back now. Like I said, the iron. Not bad for a awkward position. Alright, so now that we got that pretty much all covered up, so just like monocoat, well, since this has an actual adhesive in the back, it's more prominent than monocoat, so I'm going to take some lacquer thinner from your local Home Depot or hardware store, and we're going to just go around on all the overlaps and the edges. Sometimes, you know, you get some of that adhesive, you know, and we're just gonna wipe it down, just clean it up, so that we don't have any discoloration or any adhesive marks. Just like that. We're just gonna do that throughout the whole thing here, and we'll get a nice clean looking covering. Alright, let me go ahead and flip this over. So I did this one earlier, I just didn't seal it yet. So just same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and seal this down. And the balsa here is very soft, and so I'm making marks with just a sock, and so that's okay. It's all right. Right here. So I took off the back end of the orange. I got my glass underneath. The backing of the silver is still on there because basically took the orange and placed it over the silver, about 1/2 inch overlap. As you can see, I didn't really follow the 1/2 inch guide that I made the mark. I'm a little bit under, and so, but other than that, it's still all nice and straight all the way through, and it's all sealed all the way down here. So now all I have to do is take off the backing of the silver and then put this thing right over the fuselage. All right, so just like that, we got it draped over the fuselage. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and see what we need to do here. Any adjustments on the covering here, and then we'll go ahead and take off the backing of the silver, and then we'll start tacking it on one side, and we'll kind of pull it, make sure that the line is within my perimeter where I initially wanted it to all fall in place in it. So if you're looking down that, I want this line to be right underneath the canopy, so I gotta make sure that this line is coming down. Right here is where the canopy sits. So as long as I have a little bit of orange on the fuse, then we're good. And so just like that, we'll go ahead and start tacking it down and stretching it out, and then yeah, I think I'm gonna pull this off first, and on the vertical fin here, I'm gonna get some orange and actually cover this top piece right here, and then I'll also do a strip back here before I go ahead and do this. Alright guys, so we got the right hand side basically covered. Now for my first experience with Ultracote, as far as a full-blown covering job, I really do not care for this adhesive backing that this thing has, because once you even touch the covering with your sealing iron, I mean even a tap, that thing is stuck. I mean, you can slowly peel it back off after it cools down somewhat and then reapply it again, but it just, I really don't care for that. Not like Monocote. I mean, this is not it is a comparison, but you know, Monocote we all know is pretty much out the door already, so it is what it is. But man, they really stopped a good thing, you know. I mean, top flight's been pretty much down, but man, if just somebody could just make the top flight Monocote, it'd be awesome. Other than that, China coat and all those other stuff, you know, I'm gonna try different coverings, but just like I've been saying, I've been harping on, I don't really care for Ultracote, and I'm gonna do my best. What you can see here, I'm gonna do my best, and I'm gonna try to do it justice, but I really do not care, like I said, for this adhesive backing. And the material is just a little flimsy, you know. At the same time, we're about almost 2.5 inch shorter in width from monocoat. So paying a lot of money for even less material. And I still need to go ahead and put the white on there, and then we're gonna do some black accents, and then we're gonna do the checkerboard pattern. Now the checkerboard pattern, I need to figure out how I'm gonna make the flow. I don't want it just to look, you know, just boxy looking. Also, I wanted to give that nice look to it, and so we're gonna put some checkerboard as well on the bottom or the side type deal, or I don't know yet, still debating. Alright, so we're going to seal or join the two Ultracote colors together, same way I do the monocoat. So I got my glass here so that it won't stick, but at the same time I only removed the backing, as you can see, if you see through, up to there. So I just cut the backing off the strip here, that way the rest of the covering is not collecting any dust and all that stuff. Alright, and so I got my line here, my 1/2 inch mark, and that's how much I'm going to overlap this, so that I have some margin in case, you know, so somewhere down the line it wants to pull apart. At least we got more area adhering to each other. Okay, so this is for the left side of the fuselage, so we're gonna go ahead and take care of that. All right, so what we're doing now is I am just covering the canopy, and nothing special here. Okay, so I'm just, my heat right now is almost max. I find it it really adheres the this adhesive faster, but at the same time I'm not leaving it on there long, as you can see. So I'm not over shrinking it at this point. I can actually just come back here and lift this back up, as you see, and then I could put it back down and just put the heat back on there. You do that with monocoat, you rip the covering off. The paint will be transferred over, and you have a clear piece of plastic, and you tear the monocoat. So monocoat, when you iron it down, like these seams, and you put heat on there, I mean, it's stuck. It's not gonna come apart. Like right now with this, I put the heat in there, it's sealed. Both sides are sealed. But I can still come back over here and just lightly peel it away. I mean, you can feel it. Look at that adhesive right there. But good thing about it is I can come back again and just reheat that glue, and bam, it's stuck again. The downfall of this is that when we're out in the field, in the sun, the humidity, here in the Pacific island of Guam, tropical island and all, when the model's out laying on the grass type deal. When we're out in the field, it's not underneath the tent or anything. That sun beating down, yeah, the Ultracote tends to kind of soften and starts to sag. You know, Monocote tend to tighten up. You know, but when you put too much heat on this, you got to be careful on Ultracote, because there's a threshold. Once you over shrink it, it can't shrink anymore. So you got to do it in increments, in steps. You can't do it all at one time, because I've learned that if you try to shrink this drum tight with your heat gun at one shot, from, you know, wrinkly and saggy and everything, you just put your heat gun on there, you're gonna over shrink it, and then it's not gonna be able to shrink anymore, and it's just not gonna work. When something about Monocote is that you can keep putting the heat on there, it's gonna continue shrinking and shrinking until you burn a hole right through it. So you can get it drum tight. This one, it's not. It's still saggy. It looks tight, but look at that. You know, Monocote, you can go there and play the drums. You can get it even tighter. But you know what? It is what it is. Like I said, you can still get Monocote right now, but if you're trying to get specific colors, good luck, because not all colors are available. And I wanted to use Monocote, but they didn't have silver. I couldn't find silver. That's the reason why it took a while for me to order, because I was looking and I was waiting to see if silver was going to pop up somewhere, and it never did. So I just said, you know what, let's go just do Ultracote, make a video, you know. And this is coming from a guy who has been using Monocote for pretty much 4 decades. You know, I love Monocote. I never thought I would see the day when, you know, our hobby is slowly dying. A lot of companies are shutting down. I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't really looked into it, but I think I saw something about Robart shutting their manufacturing part down for the retracts and stuff. I don't know if they're still going to be selling, but they said that they're going to be stopping the manufacturing part. So that kind of sucks, because I need retracts for my P51. But oh well, there goes the hobby. Alright, so what we're going to do, I know if you've been following me, you know that I use my soldering iron with a old tip to basically clear out the holes for pretty much anything, your hinges, your screw holes and stuff like that. And so it's just easier and cleaner, in my opinion. But then again, you know, it is what it is. And so, yeah, just like that, just opening up all the holes. There you go. So all the holes there basically all opened up. And then we can also use this to open up like the servo wells, the servo holes, wing tube holes, you know, pretty much anything really. Bigger areas, I suggest, you know, like big openings, you know, cut it and then flip the covering inside and iron it in. That way you have a little bit more security with that section, especially if it's an open area that sees a lot of action. Like for example, the hole in the wing and the side of the fuselage where all the extensions go into, you know. I would suggest just cutting that up and folding the covering in and then ironing it down. We got wing bolt hole. We got alignment tabs right here. And so for this alignment tab, we're just going to poke a hole in there. Just clean it out as good as you can. Just like that. This is for the wing bolt hole right here. Just make sure you get it in the right spot, because once you poke it in there, that's it. Alright. That's pretty much how I would clear out my holes, as you can see. Now this one right here, this is for the this opening right here is for the electronics, like servo wires. I don't know why they made it that big, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that big of an opening. Let me just double check. So we got the wing. Wing tube is right here. Oh yeah, so technically I can open this right here. This will be for the electronics, not that bigger one. So it's a good thing I didn't cut that open yet. So yep. So I'll open up this back end. This one's smaller, and that'll be for passing through your aileron servos. Alright. Oh yeah, I forgot. The screw holes for the canopy. Alright guys, so just basically I'm just trying to map out the checkerboard pattern. Now it's actually a little harder than I expected it to be. This is one thing I have never been good at, and that was checkerboard. And so I was thinking of doing this on the cry cut machine. The problem is actually getting this pattern that I'm trying to get transferred to the cry cut machine, and I only got a 12 by 12 mat, and so I'm gonna end up having to do multiple segments just to come up with a scheme that flows. And so it's gonna be more time consuming doing it that way. And so I said, you know what the hey, let me just do it freehand like I always have been doing. And so this is what I'm doing right now. And so on this side, these lines right here, that I just came up with, just eyeballed it, and then I came back in and I got reference points and I got some measurements. And so right now between this line and this line is about 4.5 inches, and so I'm gonna go from this line to the next line another 4.5 inches. I was thinking of going larger to smaller, but I guess I'll keep it at 4.5 here, but then when I come back here, I don't know, I'm just gonna, this is a lot of work just to see how it's gonna look. but it's worth it at the end most of the time for me. So we're gonna do it. And so since I have a whole bunch of this chart tape, 1/16, I'm just going to town with it. All right, so I got the same marks on the other side here, and what I'm doing is I'm just wrapping it around, trying to you know, keep the flow. Trying to keep the flow. That's all I'm doing. So that when you look from the top view, it looks as if the checkerboard is wrapping around too. So I don't know if you can see that. Let me bring you. All right. So kind of like that. And so I could see right there, I'm a little bit crooked right here, but you know what? I'll reposition it. But you see what I'm trying to do, right? All right, so that's what we're doing, and then I'm gonna cut this right over here, and then this next one is gonna come down like this, wrap around, and then we'll see how it comes out. All right, so something like that. And so, and then if you're looking at it from the top view, it's gonna resemble that. So I don't know, we will see. Yeah. All right, guys. So basically, so I could transfer this thing onto my Ultracote. So that piece that I took off from the airplane, I went ahead and just propped up my glass on some mixing cups, put a light under there. That way I can go ahead and just trace this out and then cut it out. But yeah, it is what it is. Alrighty, let's get it. Alright, guys, so we got the pattern pretty much all drawn out on the Ultracote. And so now the tedious task of actually cutting this thing straight. You know, at this point right now, I mean, I'll try to cut it as straight as I can, but if it's a little bit, you know, with the blade, then it is what it is. You know, I don't got a big plotting machine or anything like that to cut this out for me, so everything is all done by hand. And so yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully it turns out okay. I mean, if not, then hey, at least the model will be covered and we get to fly it. So yep, let's go ahead and start getting this thing all cut out. I'm just gonna cut freehand. Alright guys, so we got the pattern here all cut out. Now they're all individual, so I have to place this on the model one by one. And so that's gonna be the fun part. Normally for something like this, you know, small and everything, I would do this on the glass, you know, with a little bit of Windex on the glass so it'll hold it down and all, or on a sticky mat, you know. But it's okay, it's all right. We're gonna go ahead and take care of this, knock it out, and hopefully get what I was looking for. All right, basically what I'm doing now is just ironing down all these pattern pieces. So I got iron is on low, and I'm just slowly working my way to the front, and just before I seal it down, make sure that the edges are, you know, they're all aligned. That right there. So this one looks okay. So let me just go ahead and finish ironing all this down. Bring up the heat just a little bit more. Got a bubble there. I really hate, I'm gonna continue saying it until I'm done, but I really hate this adhesive backing on this Ultracote. Here, just gotta make sure I lock that down, and we'll start from the center. Either which way, work it out. Go ahead and take off this tape here. So unfortunately I gotta take off all the tape on this one because it's such a small piece. I'm gonna get bubbles if I leave this tape on here, because I got no place to run the iron. Maybe I could leave that there. Try to get all the air bubbles out for now. Slowly work. Okay, I'm going to take this tape off now. Alright. So just like that, guys, that's what I'm doing. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue the rest and do this off camera. That way we're not wasting everybody's time. And yeah. Alright guys, so I went ahead and I'm prepping right now to cut out the white pinstripe or stripe, or however you want to call it, that's going to run the length of the fuselage right underneath the orange. Alright, so it's going to butt up right at the orange there, and it's going to follow from the front all the way to the rear and onto the rudder. Alright, so this is basically what I got. So I'm utilizing the same template that I used to cut out the orange and the silver. So this is where the orange was at, this is the silver. And so what I did was I just butted back up together, separated to the width that I think I would like. And so I started off at the front here at 1 inch from the bottom edge to this top edge here. So that's 1 inch, and then midpoint is about 3/4, right about here, and then all the way to the end, the aft, is 1/2 inch. All right, so we go from 1 inch slowly going down towards a 1/2 inch mark. All right, so it's gonna be thin at the rear and then slowly kind of thicken out. Alright, so that's basically what we're doing on this part, and that's just going to complete the main scheme. And then from there I'm going to throw in some black somewhere. I don't know what I'm going to do with the black just yet. I might do some design or something like that, I don't know. But the checkerboard, as far as concerned, is just the white. I might do some on the bottom of the stab, elevator, and wing, but I don't want to go overboard on the checkerboard. Hey, that rhymes, right? But yeah, I mean, checkerboard is cool and all, but you don't want to overdo it. So yeah, so just concentrating on the fuselage right now, and so we're gonna go ahead and take care of that. And as you can see, this is what we got so far on the fuse. So I did most of this off of camera because it's the same thing that we did here. It's basically what we did there. So really, there's no sense in having to kind of show all that, right? I mean, it's just basic covering. It's just utilizing Ultracote. And so that's pretty much it. I was having issues over here. On this section here, I was having issues because it's a, what is it? Reverse radius, or I don't even know how you would call that, but you got so many different compound curves and everything, you know. On this one you got the curve going up, then you got also the curve going in. All right, and so the covering, once I put this on monocoat, I would have been able to tack it here and really stretch it and use the heat and manipulate it and everything, and it won't rip. The monocoat, if I'm tugging and everything, it's not going to tear. It's a different story of Ultracote. So I was expecting to, you know, it be the same type deal. You know, I'll be able to pull it and everything. So I made slits, you know, and then I was pulling each one across. And when I was applying the heat, it just kept tearing. And so, yeah, this backside, it's not one of my best work. It just looks like crap, but you know, hey, it is what it is. But for the most part, it's okay. You know, you're not gonna see that when it's flying. And I'll wiggle the plane all the way around and stuff, so you won't see it at all, period. But yeah, other than that, that's one of my downfalls in that one. And like I said, with monocoat, that would have been easy peasy lemon squeezy. But the Ultracote, man, I tell you, grabbing and tugging and pulling and adding heat and everything, and it ripped. So I'm like, wow, okay. But yeah, other than that, that's what we got going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of this part right here, cut that out, and I'm just gonna basically utilize these templates, and I'm going to cut the bottom side first, this one, and then I will remove this, and then I'll cut the top, and then, you know, trying to keep it as straight as I can, because it's going to be very obvious if I cut it crooked, and then you're going to have, instead of that straight crisp line, it's going to be jagged or something. So I'm hoping, because that's a full length of Ultracote there, and man, I don't want to waste too much, so it is what it is. All right, guys, so let me go ahead and cut this out, and then we'll come right back to when I'm already applying it. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and start ironing down this white stripe that I got here. And so I want to go ahead and position it, just basically button it up. Just gonna butt it up right there underneath the orange, and it's just gonna run and ride the bottom of that all the way through. All right, so in the meantime, I went ahead and my heat, I'm lowering my iron down. I'm gonna give it a few minutes to cool down, and then I'm gonna increase it just slightly. All right, so when you're doing Ultracote over Ultracote, you want to make sure that your heat is not high. All right, if you got high heat on your iron and you try to do Ultracote over Ultracote, there's a high probability that you will develop air bubbles. So it's best to just keep the heat as low as you can, low enough that it will activate the adhesive in the back, but not fully, just enough to tack it on there and actually secure it, hold it on, so that you can run the full length or apply the part down. Right, while doing that, you're ensuring that you're getting all the air bubbles out with the sealing iron, going in a small circular motion from the center outwards. Right, so since this is you can see how big the iron is compared to that stripe, so I'm not really going to have the luxury of really starting in the middle, right? So I'm going to try my best. I'm going to put it down, start from one end, and I'm going to slowly work my way through. All right, this right here is a little bit more tedious because there's no backing in some parts here. All right, these are open areas, and so I have to be very careful not to push down on the iron so hard that the heat softens the Ultracote, and eventually what's going to happen when that occurs is that you're going to end up pushing everything in, and then eventually overstretching the covering or the stripe that I'm trying to apply, and so everything goes down. Then it's going to capture air and cause an air bubble and a wrinkle at the same time, or you might iron a crease right in there. So when you're doing it over open areas like this right here, you're gonna have to put very light pressure, work it, take your time. There's no rush. I mean, unless you really just want to get it all done. But if you want a nice looking covering job, you're gonna have to spend some time, be patient, and just take it slow. All right. But yeah, I'll probably put it on hyperlapse, you know. But if somebody really wants to see, I mean, to really know how to do it, just put it in the comments. Let me know if you want a whole video, you know, of everything in motion, because I do it and then the video becomes so long, and then people just bypass it and go straight to the end. So I mean, it defeats the whole purpose sometimes. Right, so we are on this side now, the left side of the fuselage, knocking out the stripe. Just like I said here, this right here is open bay, so I have to be very careful not to put too much pressure. Then I'm just going to go back just like that. Yeah. Just keeping on this side, I'm using this hand to kind of pull the material to keep it nice and tight. At the same time, aligning it with the bottom edge of the orange. That way it doesn't move on me. Where did I leave off last? I don't remember. Just like that. That's what I'm doing. Alright guys, so this is basically what I came up with. As far as the pattern is concerned for the horizontal stab and elevator, so this is the left side. So I'm thinking of doing this portion right here orange, since I already got this part covered orange. Yep. So that will be orange right here, and this will be a black piece, white going onto the stab, and then silver right here. Now I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate a nice looking checkerboard white pattern here. Nothing small, kind of medium size, given the flow with this design. So it has that flow going into there and then onto the fuse. So that's what I'm trying to come up with right now at this point. So we'll see. Alright guys, so we're basically going to be cutting out this white checkerboard pattern that's going to go on the horizontal stab. So this is the left hand side. So I'm just working on that side for now. And so looks like a lot of things going on here, which it is, but we're going to go ahead and carefully cut all this out. So I'm going to use a razor blade here. I ran out of single edge razor blades, you know, the thinner ones. I used my last one, so this is what I normally use. I was thinking of using my X-Acto blade, my number 11 blade, but I don't know. We'll see. Let's just go with this guy. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the bottom first. Bottom side first. Alright, there we go. Main key here is don't stop. Once you go with the flow, keep constant pressure and go with the cut. Now this is a long line right here, so I'm going to start from up here. Once again, just follow your line. And try not to stop, which is the hardest part. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do this line. see the line because now, so we got this one down here, we got that one, this one I think I'm gonna go straight down. Now we gotta retape that down. Should have not went all the way. It's alright. We'll hold it down with tape. Alright. So we got this one here, we got this one there. Let's go ahead and do this one right here, this bottom. This part. Okay, so we got all these right here. Make sure that, because I'm going to get confused here. And so, I'm going to go ahead and number these things. Alright guys, so we're basically adding the this black stripe basically to kind of give some contrast, some kind of break up the color scheme here from white and orange and silver. And so I cut this out utilizing the same template that I used to cut the silver and the orange. And from here, as you see, I got a few tick marks there going the full length of this fuse underneath the white. And so basically it's measured 1/4 inch below the white. And so that's where this is going to be placed at, like that, all the way through. That way I know the black is straight. Alright, so that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. Alright guys, so that's pretty much this is pretty much where we're gonna stop at, because we are waiting for the rest of the Ultracote to show up. I still got both wings to basically cover. I still got the right hand side elevator and the stab to finish. And so without any more orange at the moment, I can't finish that. And of course we can't finish the wings. And so we're just waiting. Once the covering arrives, we can go ahead and continue. So I'll go ahead and do that in part 2 of the covering scheme of this model, and then we'll basically finish that all up and start getting this bad boy ready to fly back up in the air. All right, so until then, I will see you guys in the next video, and hopefully it doesn't take too long. But yeah, so have fun, continue building, and I'll see you next time. All right, guys. 谢谢。